Like, so what I mean by that is, how much do you think you need to know in order to, how many layers of the onion you want to go down?
Well, as deeply as possible, but I'm never going to go past my comfort level where I kill a deal, to where it will be a progressive growth process for us as Intermobile Global. In other words, if we've got a good contact, as in WM, for instance, with Jeff Sutton and his company, we put Jim on the phone with him instantly. You know what I mean? And so anytime that Brian and I, have a what we would consider, a valuable lead, we're going to want to involve IM Container as much as possible so that we know that they're getting all of the correct information. And they'll know that the support is there, that whenever orders are placed, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. So obviously, we'll take care of all the fulfillment of that, of course. So what level, what segment of the supply chain are you least familiar with? So there's trucking, there's rail, there's ocean freight. Do we want to talk about kind of the benefits of all of that, the removal of the CapEx? I mean, if I'm going through this presentation, here's my point: is that at a very high level, we can kind of talk about and walk through just the general features and benefits. But I feel like we're going backwards a little bit because I feel like you probably already know a lot of those. So I want to make sure our time is focused as to what area do we want to go in depth about, or do we just want to get going and see what questions you have?
Well, that's fine too, because Ron is quite familiar with the whole logistics process, so he can help me as far as the intricacies of the supply chain. But it wouldn't be bad to perhaps even start with a 30,000-foot view, maybe for the first couple of minutes, and at least with the overview, and then get down where the nuts and bolts where you believe that we could be of the biggest asset in representing IM Container. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So if we're going through the presentation here, let's start with, I guess, design. Do you guys understand all the features and benefits of the design and kind of why it was made the way it's made, and or do you want to start there? That'd be good to start. Okay. So when we originally came up with the design, there was a single design. It was just one container, and it was the Intermobile container, right? It was 635 cubic feet. And do you guys understand bulk density?
Slightly, but
okay. So it's volume, right? It's math. So but the problem is that we have a universal product so we needed to kind of target it in a little bit towards, do we want to stick with a single product that has 635 cubic feet of volume, or is that going to be able to universally work for everybody? And we came to the conclusion that no, it probably would not. And so we have the two different models. So we went from like I said, the 635. And the reason why at 635 it worked for a long time was because our target was sand. And sand has a product density of plus or minus 100 pounds per cubic foot. Okay? And at 100 pounds per cubic foot, what that's saying is we can hold 635 cubic, it's just math. It's 63,500 pounds is essentially what that means. Did you get the math there? 100 pounds per cubic foot, you have 635 cubic feet of volume. So you take 100 times 635 and you get 63,500.
Okay.
All right? We'll get into trucking later, but road limitations in the United States are 80, I thought it was 85,000. Let's call it 80,000 pounds total weight.
85 some states, but interstate would be 80.
Yeah, so you can go up plus or minus, but I think universally interstate, it's like 80,000, right? Well, so now you got to take, you know, the weight of our container that was out there or whatever. So you have like, you know, 7,500 pounds. And then you have, you know, that's the container. Then you have the chassis, which, okay, let's call it like, you know, 7,000 pounds. And then you have the truck, it's called 15,000 pounds. So really quickly, you're going to see that we would never be able to get 63,000 pounds over the road. Okay? So in North America. So that's where we're like, well, if our target market is sand and some of these more like dense products, you know, we were finding that we were seeing anything from like 30 pounds per cubic foot to like 120. But like a great deal of them were, you know, kind of trending a little bit more towards this way, which is like 50, 70, whatever, you know, as you look at it. So the idea was, well, we have kind of a less dense product. So if you look at the density again, if you're at like 50, you're gonna cube out before you weight out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna fill it up. So if you put in feathers,
Yeah.
you're gonna fill it up with feathers before it weighs enough to go over the thing, right?
Right.
So this is where we started having, you know, some issues to saying, okay, well, is this the right model for us to go with universally? Mm-hmm. So what we did is we took an approach where it was like, okay, well, let's get two models in there. So if we kept a standard model, and there was another issue with the design as well. So if you look at that container that's out there, okay, this is what they call the angle of repose. Okay?
It's called, what is it called?
The angle of repose. I can write bigger. Okay, so let me draw this a little bit better here. Okay, so the original model that we had at 635 cubic feet, we were like, we need more cubic feet, more cubic feet, more cubic feet. Well, the only way to get more cubic feet was to make this section bigger and, you know, try to make it so it could still unload correctly, right? And what you see with that is you have these things, we'll talk more about this in design, you have like these holes that are right there that are called aerators, right? That's an aerator hole that they were speaking about with that company that was in here the other day. Mm-hmm. So this was like 635 cubic feet. Well, we went through numerous product testing with the product as well, and we said, well, this angle, so that angle right here was like 30 degrees or something like that, like 32 degrees. All right. Well, what we were finding is, depending on the product and the type of product that it was, there was residual material that had the potential to be left there. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what's the most important part about the product is that it works, right? So the question was, do we leave these aerators in to help push some of that product down and loosen the product up so it goes down, or do we got to change the design? So we had two different kind of issues kind of going on here with the original design, and this is why, you know, again, we spent like a year kind of backward looking and making sure the design was right. We said, okay, well, what would it take to increase this angle of repose to make it so instead of looking like that, it's a little bit steeper, but we still had the constraint of it being 8'6" tall. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you want to make that bigger, what do you got to do? You got to reduce this part,
the height
of